Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very impromptu demo. I was inspired to do this because Cursor shipped some cool stuff today. I just wanted to show a sneak peek into what the future of design might be. Here I am in Cursor. We'll get to that in a sec. I just want to say a little bit about what path I took to get to this place. One of my favorite things that I still think about today is getting the opportunity to build Origami Studio. We saw some flaws in like how designers were building these interactive prototypes, and we're able to make a tool that lets you do gestural animation in a really straightforward way. And building off of that node-based programming thing, Lobe, which was machine learning for designers, but I think it was a little bit too far ahead of its time in a sense that like we hadn't figured out what the primitives were of AI. We were using nodes to build a neural network and then train it. Designers were not ready for that. Lastly, working a diagram, we built some really cool tools where you brought AI directly into the design canvas, but for very limited purposes, generating an icon or just renaming your layers. We're sort of limited in the scope of what we could do by this translation process, going from this design canvas that speaks one language into HTML, which is what language models wanted to speak, and then back and forth. So as I was moving on, I think there's a lot of people that are just jumping right to code and not really using these traditional design tools because they have so much power now with AI and their own design sense and intellect. And if you already know exactly what you want to do, it works really well. You should design in the medium that you're going to ship. I still think there's one ingredient that's missing here, which is where you don't know what you want to do. And so you might want to just drag stuff around and then, kind of see what happens. This is a live infinite canvas environment that lets you do things that are not so easy with just a web browser and then editing elements. And first thing is just you can zoom in and out. And this is really important. When you want to get the details right, I want to see exactly what's going on here. The other thing you might want is some kind of attribute inspector panel. I'm just going to take off the blur here. And it says visual editing. What does that mean? So one thing you might want to do is just edit the gap between elements. You might want to edit the border radius, but you're not compromising on the fact that at the end of the day, this is actually code. I have this attributes panel. That's a necessary ingredient, but it's not everything, right? And of course, you have undo and redo, and these are like two to set the opacity, these things that are really helpful in you as a designer doing the work. And I think delegating everything to AI kind of misses a little bit of how we communicate. The other thing, let me just option drag this down here. Oh, well, let me compare this and this. Or like, what if, so if I go large? No, it must be set at a lower level. Well, what if I did 2XL here? And then I can copy my layer styles. And then I'm just going to paste it onto these guys. I didn't have to go try to express these ideas in words to a language model. I just did it, the thing itself, as opposed to words about the thing. Speaking of live editing, let me open up the code. So actually, this whole time, this has just been HTML code. And you're like, well, that doesn't matter, right? A lot of things are HTML, but you can edit it live. So 3.5, I can just put anything here and it's going to instantly show up on the other side. So if I edit this, I undo it, right? There's a live connection between the code and what's happening on screen. And I think that helps avoid when you're thinking about code all the way over there and then like your design is over here. And just having it be instant, you don't need to save, you just do it. To me, that seems like a great direction to go in. The other thing that this gives you is you can just copy paste this, get another one. It's already thinking about like, oh, well, we need to make a 3.5, etc. So it takes advantage of this environment cursor where you have this autocomplete going on and you don't need a different system for design. It just does it. You can use the frame tool I should probably change that, right? I could just add another one. And these are just divs, right? There's nothing special about them. I could say to the cursor agent, I would like to take these two gray squares and instead they're going to be sort of a stack of different days of the week. Each one will have on the right-hand side a count of how many tasks there are to do on that day. And we have something going on. Maybe we want to set a width here because this seems excessively wide. What if we did 40? What if we just set it like that? I forgot actually, I have a little prompt here that you can put in called design that situates it in the fact that we're inside of a HTML file essentially, and we're treating it like a design. Okay, can you make a variation of this where each day of the week is a different color? Just put it to the right. So now I'm just letting cursor kind of riff. All right, they're different colors, but I don't love it. I want you to tighten up the padding that's outside of each one and then have the padding on the inside of each card be a little bit more generous. And can you make the colors more vibrant and fun? Hey, can you round all of those corners too? We've rounded all the corners and so forth. There's actually one more cool thing I can do, which is say this little play mode here. I'm just going to add a hover variant, and then I'm going to go down to background. I'm going to override the background in that state and to make it like this deeper red. But there you go. So I think there's a lot of potential to just leverage the web platform to handle all of these things that would require like making a component and a variant and all of this kind of rigmarole in other tools already taken care of. Hey, I made a hover on the first one where it gets more intense on the color. Can you do that for the rest of them too? You know, each of them hover. And there's no code or there's no JavaScript in this. It's just using, you know, HTML and CSS. One other thing, here's this icon from SF Symbols, and say I need another icon, a man walking a dog or someone fishing. Hey, could you make an icon of a telescope with a starry background in the style of this icon? And then kind of keep prompting it and kind of working on it in image space, because there aren't any vector editing tools yet in this environment. It's just going to do it in image space. But I think you can get some, oh, that's pretty bad. I'm so sorry. Here's some more fun stuff you can do, just treating stuff as an image. Here is this random weather app that I was designing. I want to do something a little bit more fun. So what if we tried, can you make this a cottagecore weather app and then all the different individual times and temperatures are handwritten on little scraps of paper? We're sort of completely unconstrained in pixel space, and then like in HTML space, we're constrained to the real world. And this is also a pretty bad design, but you know, hey, it let us do it and it didn't say no. Let me just see if I can conjure up one more shenanigan. So I'm in this window and I can just go into the web inspector and then I can select this. Maybe I want to select the element here. I just press copy, okay? And then I'm gonna switch back to my copy pasted that website into here. Then you can go in and just edit stuff in the design. There are a couple bugs around new lines here, so don't take this too literally, but it will be fully possible to just copy paste something from the web and then start editing it. So let's work on that over here. Could do this, draw a rectangle, okay. And I pasted that in the rectangle. And then I could be like, okay. So this is actually pulling in the design system, theme, product, ANSI green. This is all their theme colors from their website. And this just got imported because I asked Claude to look at their CSS file and then turn it back into a Tailwind config file. So then, you know, you can just edit. And these are all just their spacing constants and their colors. So it's all the theme text color. And yeah, it's kind of neat. You could just modify this in HTML and then just tell Claude, okay, now that I've updated, for example, we could change this color to be one of their product ANSI greens or something. So you can just do stuff and you have this nice affordance for it that is human friendly. In addition to being AI friendly, because you can just open up the code, open up the agent here and say, hey, can you translate this into French? Because that's all I could think of right now. It's 11 p.m. You can get a sense what I'm excited about for the future of design, which is hopefully a little bit more fun, a little bit more fundamental to the actual thing that we're doing, using the medium of these little divs and CSS and HTML. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to go solve a problem out there in the world. And this feels like a direct and creative way we could do that. So that's all I have for today. Thanks.